Good afternoon and welcome. On behalf of the Johnson family, I would like to thank every one of you for being here today at the celebration of life for Brent Johnson. Robert Brent Johnson was born to geologist Robert Whitman Ford and Elizabeth Nell McConnell on August 25th, 1941 in Tyler, Texas. He passed away suddenly on March 2nd, 2022. We lost an amazing husband, father, grandfather, and friend. His father died in a car accident when he was 2, and his mother remarried to Lieutenant Colonel Ralph Johnson. Thus, he led a life of military brat and lived in Paris, France, Germany, and several bases in the U.S. He went to 26 different schools until, fortunately, his father was assigned to teach ROTC at Oklahoma University. He was able to spend all his high school years in Norman. He had some of the best times of his life and attended several high school reunions. After graduation, he went to Germany, took college classes, skied the Alps, saw the Mona Lisa, went to the Le Mans, he loved cars, and did all the things a young man dreams about. Upon returning to Oklahoma City, he graduated from the University of Central Oklahoma with a Bachelor of Arts degree. As a senior, he met the love of his life, Barbara Barry Miller, who soon became his wife. He worked as a commercial artist and became a prominent Oklahoma watercolor artist. Brent and Barry had 2 children, 5 grandchildren, and 1 great-grandchild. His brilliant light has gone out, but the memories will never fade.
Thank you all for coming. I'm Brandon. What's the mic following on? And we'll start us out with prayer. Father, we just thank you that you brought us all together. We thank you, Lord, for Brent's life. God, we just thank you for all of us he touched. Lord, everybody that, from the earliest of age to his last day, we just love him. We just thank you for his life. We thank you, Lord, that you are good to us. We thank you, Lord, that you are good to our families. That you are close to us, Lord. We thank you, Lord. We know that Brent is with you. And we just thank you for that. God, we just declare, Lord, that you are with us. You are close to the brokenhearted. And we just pray, Lord, that you would speak to us, Father, about all the things that you would want us to say today. All the things that you would want us to think about. And Lord, we are here to celebrate Brent. We are sad that he's gone. But I'm so thankful that he's with you. In Jesus' name, amen.
I'm so glad all of you guys are here. And I have heels on so I can reach the mic. And this is my natural hair color for all of you that have been asking. If I haven't seen me in 20 years, this is my natural hair color. So a lot of people are like, is that your natural color? And I'm like, yes, it is. I don't have to pay for it anymore. It's wonderful. Each one of you in this room have had an impact on my father's life. I'm so thankful that each of you are here. And his life ended suddenly, but in the scope of heaven, it wasn't suddenly. There was a plan, there were pages written, there were plans that had already been made for him. And his life was full, it was well lived. And I just want to thank each of you for being here. And as Hayden was saying, you can tell he lived a very full life at the beginning, moving 26 times from kindergarten all the way up to high school, and then meeting my mom, and then staying in the same house for how many years now? 50?
Your age, at least.
Yeah, well, we're not going to talk about that. So that'd be more like loved every one of you that are here today. And he would want a celebration. He would want, so I want you guys to be thinking as we go through the service, if there's something you'd like to say. We're going to have an open mic, and you'll be able to share something that you remembered about my dad, because he was extremely funny. And if each of you know, probably each of you have a story of him pranking you or making a joke of some sort, or just doing something that was out of character and just brought joy to the room. So I wanted to just tell each of you thank you for being here. Thank you for honoring him. And just wanted to set the tone for how the rest of the service will go, that we just want it to be more informal, and a place where each of you get to participate if you feel like you have something to share. When my dad passed, we were given about 12 hours with him when he fell to a heart attack, and we were given 12 hours to spend time with him before he left. And during that time, we read Psalms 23 over him. And the whole drive to the hospital, the verse that just kept coming to me over and over and over was, even in the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil. I kept saying, I will fear no evil. I will fear no evil, because I didn't know what I was going to be entering into. So I just speak that over each of you today, that there is no fear. There is no fear with the last couple of years we've had in our society. That there is no fear in death when we say yes to God. That there is an eternal place with him. And when we entered that room and got to take him to heaven, it was experienced by me that is true. That whatever trauma he carried, whatever stories he carried that were negative, whatever things that he went through that were heavy, they were gone. When he went with Father, they were gone. He was in eternal glory with him. So I just want to read Psalms 23 over you guys as we continue on in the service. The Lord is my shepherd. I shall not want. He maketh me lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters. He restores my soul. My mind, my will, my emotions, he restores. He leads me into the path of righteousness for his name's sake. And yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow, it's just a shadow. It's not real. The shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff comfort me, and they prepare a table for me in the presence of my enemies. And then this is just so important, because when we're seated at the table with God, no matter how difficult it is, he's with us. There's always a seat at the table with him. And then over that, he anoints our head with oil, and our cup runneth over. And surely goodness and mercy shall follow him and us all the days of our life, and we will dwell in the house of the Lord forever.
Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now I'm found. Was blind, but now I see. Grace that taught my heart to feel, and grace my fears relieve. How precious did that grace appear, and now I burn. Amazing grace. Been there 10,000 years, bright shining as the sun. We've noticed days we're gonna sing God's praise. When we first begun. My chains are gone, Lord, you set me free. My God, my Savior, He has ransomed me. And it's like the blood, how His mercy reigns, unending love, an amazing grace. Unending love, an amazing grace.
Thank you all for coming. And being here. You have to excuse me. I haven't had an opportunity to break down. He has matured me to the point to be a man. I so look forward to being, to inspire other people that he would want me to be. He was a great man, great father, and will always be. It was a bittersweet ending. I'm so happy that it was fast and quick. He is not the kind of man that wanted to be preserved by machines or left to be a display. I'm so thankful for that. But bittersweet, I'm selfish in the same right. I wasn't done. I don't think I ever would be. I thought he had an extra 10 years. I was counting on that. But in this day of life, you can't count on anything. Every day is a new happening, new part of the future. He has inspired me to be a better man in all that I do, and to be an example to my children, which will continue to inspire and live on with me. My name, as all of you know, is David Allen Johnson. Allen for my mother's father. David is beloved that my parents gave me. Johnson is for my dad. And I hope to be a good example for him in the days coming and days to move forward. I'm so inspired by all of you, seeing you bring back so many memories, so many endearing times in my life. I want to talk to each and every one of you about things that have happened in the past. But it's all jumbled. I cannot focus on one thing. I'll tell you a little story about my graduation gift that he got me. And it was so unique. You would never think of this. But at the time, we were building an engine for my car. And we built many things together in the garage, in the studio, and elsewhere. But I got engine parts. It was gold to me. And he knew that. Everything he did in life was, I was inspired by his actions. He was a cool dad. He was a good dad. We didn't have the glory, the money, the finances, and everything, but my childhood was gold to me. I thought it was wonderful. I never dissed a day of my childhood. It was wonderful, inspiring, and we used to go to art shows together. And they were just a memory that is treasured. The days I spent with Jeff running around the art show in different places. I mean, we had freedom that we don't have today. We would just be gone for the whole day. And our parents were good with it. They were okay with it. Because they knew we were good kids. We weren't going to get into a whole lot of trouble. And they knew people in the arts council, and they knew how to get in touch with them, find us, and whatever the case may be. But he was, to me, a role model. He was my hero. He was my best friend. And that's a little sad to say, in that I haven't cultivated the friendships I need to in other people, in my son, in our family. And I'll be inspired to do that, and we'll be moving forward. I will do that. But in his remembrance, I just want to say that I love you, Dad, and I'll see you one day. Thank you all.
you guys have already heard from me, but you get to hear from me again. I have the same memories of my dad that David does in the art shows. We would go around to all the different artists and bug them and drive them crazy. And whatever the art displays were, we'd be messing with it and toiling with things that probably weren't appropriate to toil with. I remember there was an artist that had puppets and made puppets, and we'd do little puppet shows. I don't know if Jeff's remembering that. And my dad would animate them, and he would bring personalities to them and bring them to life. And I thought it was the coolest thing ever that when he did that. And growing up with Dad was very much fun. And when I was around 5 or 6, he would let me play with his hair, and he would like it pull back like that, and we'd pull his eyes back, and then he'd give all kinds of languages and personalities, and pull the eyes back and down and all the way around, and I would laugh so hard. And I remember he would let me put makeup on him and do all kinds of stuff to him. And that was the kind of dad that I had. And one time I had a pimple on my head, and I wanted to cover it up, so I put a Band-Aid on it so that no one would notice. So I came in, and I was like, "Hey, Dad." And he's like, "Hey, what happened on your head?" I was like, "What? I don't know what you're talking about." And he goes, "The big Band-Aid on your head." And I was like, "I was covering up my pimple, and I didn't want anybody to see." And I remember he hugged me for the longest time and laughed at me, and he just allowed things to be crazy, and they would allow hoses to be sprayed inside the house, and like we would be running around doing fights inside the house, and the back window to the bedroom would open, and then the hose was being sprayed with a gun inside the bedroom, and we're like calling it out there, and my dad's like, "Yeah!" And so it was in David's bedroom that actually happened. So he allowed things to just be fun. He allowed things to be creative. He had a view of life. He had a perspective of life that opened our hearts and minds to what it was to live, to see things differently, to see things abstractly. And about a week ago, I was with a friend, and we were sitting on her back porch, and there was a big bush, and in the bush, we looked over, and there was like 10 cardinals in it. And I thought, oh wow, there's cardinals. And it was such a visual that I had to go, why is there 10 cardinals in this bush? And so we talked about it, and then I went and looked up what a cardinal meant. And a cardinal means love, it means romance. And I thought, well, I guess I'm going to be loved and romance. So I was leaving that to Brandon to do. But I don't think he got it. But I don't think he did that. But a couple of days later, Brandon and I were actually together, and we were sitting in a parking lot, and there was a bush, and right next to the car where we were seated, and a big cardinal pulled up. And it's a huge cardinal, and Brandon looks at me and says, this cardinal means father. And this is father, and this is love. So after my dad passed, I went into a studio. I had the bravery to do it, because if you knew him well, the studio was his sanctuary. And everything about my dad sat in that studio. And I went to the studio, and I went to his files, because it was so meticulously organized that, like, if anyone couldn't figure out where a file was, then they needed to have a conversation. Because, like, everything is meticulous in my dad's world. And so I went and was clicking on files, and one file said birds. And because he researched things for his paintings. And I looked, and I clicked on birds, and there was 4 photos of cardinals in that folder. 4 that he had taken in his backyard. And it was such a message to me that that's who he was, because, you know, I had the opportunity to pray him to glory. I had the opportunity to say, go, go. And, you know, glory is reflected in everything that we're around. Nature, science, medicine, it's in everything. It's in people, it's in the babies, it's in our glories and everything. And my dad saw glory in everything. He saw it in nature. He has so many pictures of skies on his desktop, the different skies, the purples, the pinks, the glory, everything around him was beautiful to him. And he had been given the eye to see beauty. And to take these images and put them together and give it a different, unique message that other people could look at it and go, oh, that is beautiful. Oh, that is glory. Glory is just the supernatural thing that we get to experience and see and go, it's beyond us, but it's beautiful. And that's who my dad was. My dad was someone that saw the beauty in things, and he displayed them for the world to see. So I am honored to have had him as a dad, and I feel like David spoke so finely of him, and I don't have anything funny to say. I keep going, no, I've been funny to say, that's okay. But this is what I want to say to my dad. Dad, I love you. Thank you for the Saturday morning snuggles, the late night talks, letting me play dress up and style your hair. All the advice that maybe I didn't take, and direction that maybe I was like, I don't know, but I did at the end anyway. The love, the prayers, the thoughts, the concerns, the willingness to always help, to always make me laugh. Learning from you how to create and how to look at things from a different perspective. Teaching me to be present with people. Teaching me how to talk to people. Teaching me how to engage and how to be personable. Teaching me photography, color, design. Thank you for just teaching me beauty. And thank you that thank you for loving me so well. The life how you saw life through your lens has inspired me, and it's empowered me to see life through my own. Your humor, your storytelling, and hard work have been what I have admired about you. Your commitment to Mom, and I honor your marriage, and your commitment to Mom, and all that you did, how you loved her so well. Thank you. It was my greatest honor to be your daughter, and to be able to pray you to glory.
These kids are taking all my material. He was my hero. I thought he was the sexiest man alive. And the coolest, too. After all, he could roll a quarter through his fingers, light a Zippo lighter with the snap of his fingers, and pull a coaster out from under a beer bottle without moving the bottle. More than I